Hello, and welcome to For Your Journey. In this episode, District Apostle Kolb will address dress. No, that was bad.
So I think an interesting topic to discuss would be dress code. And recently in a service, Chief Apostle Schneider was talking about rules, and he said, something to the effect of, it's not important to get people to follow the rules, it's important to get people to love Jesus. And it's not important for them to love Jesus the way that we love Jesus exactly. Like getting them to be like me or like us isn't the way to do it. So I want to talk about dress code because it's kind of sometimes a touchy subject, I guess. I don't know, a subject that gets brought up from time to time about what is the rule about dress code.
Well, I have to disagree with you when you start by saying an important topic is dress code,
Okay.
because it truly is not an important topic. It's a topic, I guess, that people still talk about. I would have hoped it has passed us by now, but okay, you brought up the point, and we should address what the Chief Apostle says.
Mm-hmm.
We want to grow in the mind of Christ. And in the mind of Christ, we have nice indications in the gospel that show us how to do that. In our past, in the church, it's true, we did have certain rules of what ministers wear, what choir wears, what even people wear, whether that was pants or slacks or dresses or jackets or ties or all those things.
Mm-hmm.
We've come to the point that I hope that each one self-governs and is self-responsible. And that's why when we come now to some of the teachings, particularly Apostle Paul said, when he was talking about food, he said, if I eat something that offends my brother, then I shouldn't do that. And I feel the same thing is with dress. There should be a certain sanctity when we come into the sanctuary of God. We're in his nearness, we're in his closeness. Of course, he accepts us in any way because his love is unconditional. He accepted Adam and Eve. They were naked in the garden. But it does say at the end that he made clothes for them before they left. And the particular thing that I think about sometimes is when Moses went to the burning bush and God said, take your shoes off, you're on holy ground. So there was some distinction there that God was trying to show Moses. There's a holiness to me. And even around me, not only the bush, let's say, but the ground around me is holy. So it should give us a feeling that when we're in the nearness of Christ, in the divine service experience, whether that's in a little room in a home church or whether that's in a big church, there should be some feeling, I'm coming near to God. And in a way, our dress could be a form of worship,
Mm-hmm.
of how we worship him. But on the other hand, like Apostle Paul said, if I wear something that offends you, then that's wrong and I should watch for that. Inversely, you also shouldn't be so sensitive about what I'm wearing either.
Mm-hmm.
In that way, we're working together to try to come to the right measure, the right balance.
Right. There's a verse in James that I wanted to reference.
Sure.
James chapter 2 here. And it kind of talks about, let's read it. I don't need to tell you what it says. I'll just read the thing. James chapter 2, starting with the second verse. For if there should come into your assembly a man with gold rings and fine apparel, and there should also come in a poor man in filthy clothes, and you pay attention to the one wearing the fine clothes, and say to him, you sit here in a good place, and say to the poor man, you stand here, or sit over there at the footstool, have you not shown partiality among yourselves, and become judges with evil thoughts? He then goes on to say, don't do that. He spends a few verses saying, don't do that. But we can't be the judge regardless of what anyone's wearing.
Yes.
It's not appropriate, again, not to purposefully offend people, but also we could have the counter argument, like you had said, doesn't God just accept me as I am? Yes, that is always true. But one of the whole principles of the gospel is that he doesn't expect us to, he accepts us as we are, he doesn't expect us to stay as we are. We're constantly changing and understanding what offends other people and what is good for myself. And that hopefully, I know for me, I want Sunday to be different than every other day of the week. Not that the same casualness to it, or it doesn't look like I just came in from mowing the lawn or something. Like, not that God wouldn't accept me that way. I mentally, spiritually, physically want to have a different posture guess maybe that's the word, posture of how I approach this holy
Yeah,
place
I
and
think
experience. It's a whole experience. It's not just about a place. It's about the experience.
Exactly that. And if I can, judging one another about dress would be absolutely wrong. High or low, however you feel about that, that's not your business. Each one has to self-control themselves, self-govern themselves. And just a short example, in the Old West, you see that in old stories that you read or even movies or television shows, they made a church. And the church was a school during the week. So all the kids came to school during the week. But on Sunday, they wore special clothes because now the same building turned into a church. And for them, that's where God was meeting them, in the church. And I think that sort of shows the clothes, in a way, are a little bit of a form of worship. It's I want to tell God, you're special to me.
Yeah.
And so that's how you express that, by saying, I'm going to wear something a little special because, as you said, the whole world is casualized and becomes so informal. And I want to show God it's a little bit different with you. I've done something a little special. But that's each one's own individual decision.
Yeah. Okay. I think that wraps it up nicely.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of For Your Journey. If you have any suggested questions or topics, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. This has been For Your Journey.